pop out the old live chat. There we go. Boop. One sec. Let me make sure everything's happy. Let's see. Live chat. There we go. This may be an intensely boring stream. We'll see. All right, so that's rolling. All right, the Hangout stream. I remembered to hit go. That's good. Hey, Doug. So happy to meet you again. Lots of echo, like vocal echo. Hang on a second. Hang on. This is total hack job. I didn't set this up to be like, stream friendly or anything like that. Hold on. One moment. Bubba's trying to get in the door. He's upset. He wants me to hang out with him. All right. There's that. Let me check the cameras. The cameras might be have their mics on. 1 second. No, not that one. Let's try this other one. Hold on. No. All right, that one's off too. All right, now let me go back to the chat. Hey, Davey. Goes into Gons. All right, you guys getting any echo? Or is my voice relatively clear? Let me know. Freddie, North Project. That's fine. This is super cash. This is literally, I needed to work in the studio and do some sort of messing around. And I hadn't, hey, Viral, did you just sign up twice? It says, welcome to Synth Seeker Discord user. Oh, it's because you remember when you pop in, it's like, woo, you're special. Okay, I got it. Sounds okay on the laptop. I mean, I'm not talking about EQ. I'm just, as long as there's no blatant, like weird echo stuff, right? And you can hear the synth. As long as you can hear, we're happy. Hey, what life is? Hello. You've watched me all through JAMuary? Oh, I'm glad. Thank you. First time seeing the live? Well, I did a stream this morning. That was the official JAMuary stream with synchrotron, and it was super fun. And I am in the middle of tearing apart the studio. Hang on a second. And I have this fierce post-nasal drip that just will not stop. Hold on. Who doesn't? I mean, maybe it's allergies. Maybe there's mold in our house or something like that. Ugh. Anyway. Casual noise, is the echo better? Sound is okay now. Okay, good. You're going to watch that tonight? That's fine. Oh, someone was not like complaining, but someone was saying they couldn't watch the JAMuary stream live, and so they were watching it later in the day. Fine. But they said, it's too bad that you haven't enabled live chat replay. And because they were saying, I would love to, see what everybody was saying during the stream. I do have live chat replay enabled, But for some reason, and if you understand why this is, you can explain it to me. It may be that I've misconfigured something. I've got live chat replay enabled, but it takes about 18 to 24 hours for it to appear as an option in the comment section of the stream video. And it happens right around the same time that the high def version and the download, the ability for me to download the stream appears. So I think YouTube is doing some kind of processing in the hours immediately after the stream. So like you could rewatch it immediately, but it's like standard definition. It's like 720p or something like that. And like 18 to 24 hours later, the high def version becomes available. And that's when the stream chat replay becomes available. So if you really, really want to see the chat replay and you can't find it, that's probably the most recent video, and just wait a day and it'll be there, right? Let's drone something. There we go. Make a little noise in the background. I'm in the middle of disassembling some things. We'll talk about that in a minute. So the whole point of this chat is literally just to hang out. So if you want to come and go or whatever, I'm going to be on for like 3 hours, something like that. My wife will probably be upset about that. But I'm going to be like unwiring things. I'm going to move the camera around and like point it at the whole room and yell at you from across the way. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about the mic though. I'll probably turn on the camera mic, and so my vocal audio may get really bad, but I don't know. We'll see. That is not what I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hang on a second. I want this to sustain. There we go. Anyway, so that's basically what's going on. This is literally just a social thing. It's just, I want to talk to you. If you have any questions for me, go for it. I might have questions for you. Try and tag me if you can. So I notice it, do @Synth Seeker, or put a big capital Q, or like 3 of them, 3 Qs in a row, and then I'll see it in the chat. But it's pretty pretentious of me to assume everyone has questions, but some people have questions. So that's the mechanism, or the protocol. Sounded okay. That's cool. You're going to watch later. Room ambience. Yeah. So this room is just a big box. It's a giant shoe box. Yeah, so come and go. So the reason we're rejiggering the studio is, I'm going to step out of camera for a second here. Let's turn on a couple synths. I ordered a Korg Multipoly, pre-ordered. I was waiting. So I like the Korg Raspberry Pi synths. The RPi stuff. So like the Op6, the Wave State, the Mod Wave, and now the Multipoly. And if Garen was here, he would highlight, he'd say the King Korg Neo is also one of those. But I don't really like that one. And it's, whatever. I don't include it. But there are these great synths that run with a Raspberry Pi inside them. And it's basically software running in a box, but it's got a nice, the panels are good. I like touching stuff. And I was waiting. They had announced the Multipoly, and everybody went, bananas. And I watched a couple videos, and I was like, that's pretty good. It's somewhere between the Mod Wave and the Wave State, and then adds a bunch of new things. And but I didn't want the keyboard version. And the other 3 synths, they had released rack versions, and then software VST equivalents. And I was waiting. And as soon as they were going to announce a rack unit, and then if they also announced a VST, I was going to buy the rack unit, and then you can get the VST for like $50. And that was announced a couple days ago. And Garen sent me a link in the middle of the night, and I woke up to it. It was like, look at this, woo! And I was like, yes. And so I placed a pre-order, and I had money set aside for it, right? Christmas money, things like that. And so that synth is going to arrive whenever it ships. And then it occurred to me, I'm out of room. The room doesn't have room for another, even in just a 19-inch rack synth. I have some 19-inch racks, but there's a feng shui thing going on. Like, I need to be able to lay my hands on it, right? Need to be able to reach out and touch it. So that's what today is. I am rearranging the studio. It's already started. I started yesterday. A part of me was like, maybe I should just wait and do it today. But it's like, I had time yesterday. So let's see. What if we only have answers but no questions? Hi, Joe. Okay, I'm popping out for a bit. Good luck with the reorg. Okay, bye, Joe. So that's Joe Johnston, also known as Taskboy 3000, which we'll put a link to his JAMuary stuff. Hold on a second. I need a key. So I don't know if you can see this. Hold on. Let me change the camera. So like, I'm blind. I'm not blind, but I'm old and I have bad eyes, right? Not blind. But so I've got a big monitor right there. The camera's right there. And the chat's up, but when the chat's up filling the thing, I don't see the stream thing, right? So if I step out of stream, I'm not aware of it. So, or if I want to hold something up and show it to you, I can't tell if you see it. So I got to move the chat around. But so this is a music stand, like from orchestra, right? A lot of nerds, music nerds. If you were in band as a kid, band, marching band, orchestra, you probably got one of these floating around somewhere, or it's in your parents' attic or basement, right? So I have this thing. I've got a microfiber cloth on it for non-skidness, and I've got my Bluetooth sort of tablet and keyboard on it. So that's the studio. It's literally just a hodgepodge of stuff, right? From the camera's perspective, you only see, I don't even have the lights on, right? So the lasers projected on the back wall and that kind of nonsense. It's quite cramped in here. But anyway, what was I doing? I was reaching for the keyboard so I could find Taskboy's JAMuary. Let's see. Taskboy. Here we go. We'll put this in the chat. I'm really bad about putting things in the chat. I'm really bad about having a moderator. Like most YouTube assigns somebody to be the spanner, the wrench. So we'll talk about idioms in a minute. So I don't have a person assigned to be the spanner. And it's not that I don't want one. It's that I don't want to. So my day job is all about the dependencies between parts of systems. All right. And generally, if you have a lot of dependencies, things go from good to less good, right? Not necessarily bad. Inherently in a system, there's lots of things connected, working together. But you want to try and minimize as many dependencies as you can. So in my social life and in my streaming persona and in my parenting, much to the detriment of my son maybe, I try and minimize the number of dependencies between me and other things. So that's why I don't have, one of the reasons, but that's primarily the reason why I don't have a moderator assigned. I don't have someone who is blue with a little wrench to handle things like kicking badly behaved people or posting links and things like that. I try and minimize the number of dependencies, and also minimize the number of things I'm responsible for. So as I've said this in stream before, as I get older, my happiness goes up as my responsibility count goes down, right? So I have the dog, I have my wife, I have my son. My son has moved out, and so I don't have any necessarily daily dependencies between my son and myself, but I have, familial parenting dependencies, sure, still. And that'll never go away. As my father, who lives about 10 minutes from us, I still depend on him for things, right? So that'll never go away. Well, I mean, it'll go away when one of us passes away, but that's a dark place. We don't need to go there. Freddie says, dependencies in your tasks are a pain in the backside. Agreed. Yep. Happy reorg day, Luke. Thank you, Project Siren. I appreciate that. Wow, Gazunigan, so you have racks all the way to the ceiling. So there's another guy, Nanoside. He's a pal from the Synth Seeker Discord. He has a 19-inch rack that's like floor to ceiling. It's like an old, I want to say it's like a network rack taken out of some data center. It looks like it's huge, big thing, chonky. And he's got like his 19-inch rack gear is in it, and it's like floor to ceiling. It's cool, but I don't have space for that, and my wife would just shoot me. She'd be like, get that out of here. Let's see. Let's do this. There. Change the drone a little bit. All right, so what's going on? Anyway, so this multipoly is going to show up, and I need to fit it into somewhere. And let's do this. We're going to point the camera around. Oh, let's do this. Let's change the camera layout a little bit. Hang on 1 second. I should have set all this stuff up in advance, but I'm fairly lazy. All right. You know what? Hold on. Let me duplicate the shot. All right. I'm just playing with the cameras here. Let's open. So the cameras are cropped real tight, so you don't see the mess. Let's do this. Let's open it up a little bit. All right. You can't see this yet. I gotta publish it. 1 second. All right. There we go. Now I can grab the camera. Hold on a second. Boop. So, woo, go for a ride. All right, everything's tethered. So this is what I see, right? I'm standing here. Push, control, laptop, you guys, right? Hold on. So I can actually see what the hell's going on. Don't get nauseous. Nobody get motion sickness. So that's the sort of the Korg Trinity, right? So I've done mods to them, used a conversion kit, put them in an aluminum enclosure. The keyboards have been removed. And so there they are, 1, 2, 3. And I don't have, so what's coming is a rack unit, which is more narrow. It's that sized, okay? And I've got a rack down there, but I don't want to put it in that rack because I can't reach it easily. But I've got a little space here. I've got one more sort of set of arms that would normally be used to hold a synth. I can extend these out a bit, and I think I can just put the 19-inch rack, the multipoly, right there. And that's within range of my fingers. So while I'm playing up here, I can still reach it down here. All right, that's the goal. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And I apologize for the shaky cam. I have a gimbal somewhere, but this was me just picking up the camera that's on the tripod. And there used to be all the synths, like if you look at the stream 2 days ago, there was a Jasper stand full of synths here. And, oh, by the way, so we like rabbits in my house. We have a lot of rabbit stuff. And so there's someone you'll see in the chat from time to time called the Crazy Wabbit. And he's a friend. But anyway, we moved the Jaspers over here. So like the sort of the big flagship synths are sitting over here, and they're not currently connected to anything. And I'll figure out how to get them back in the system. But I generally don't. So I collect, and I also make music. This stuff is collection at this point. They're not going to be actively put into the stream or the music making process. We'll talk more about that in a minute. And there's a bunch of gear back there. But what's over here is a small Standtastic stand. Let me move this out of the way. This isn't really intended to be a studio tour. It's really just setting expectations for like what's going to happen with the rest of JAMuary. So eventually the Multipoly will come in and go there. And I've had the Hydrosynth for more than a year, but I really haven't been using it much because it's too darn big and it doesn't fit in any of my Jasper stands. So now I finally put it in on a 2-tier synth stand with the Summit here. And so these are going to be actively used in the stream for the rest of JAMuary. And we'll see where it goes from there. So anyway. All right, let's see if we can put this back. Ooh. Merp. All right. Now I got to reposition all this stuff so I can see what you see, so I can put the camera back where it belongs. Anyway. Okay. All right. The worst thing you can do at a wedding is hand me a microphone. Right? So I wish you could do, so one thing I like about Discord is I like to be able to respond with animated GIFs, which is really annoying to some people. But I've got a sticker in there, a little GIF sticker of William Shatner as Captain Kirk, and they photoshopped in him holding a giant ham. He's like holding a tribble in the original or something like that, but he's holding this big ham, and it's from the Trope website about giant ham, of which William Shatner is a giant ham, as is Brian Blessed, and Brian Blessed is my spirit animal. And if you don't know who Brian Blessed is, he's a British actor who, at least in my headcanon, is most famous for his role as Vultan, King of the Hawkmen, in the movie Flash Gordon from the 80s. Now, he has a long and prestigious career, and he may hate that movie. I don't know. I don't watch many or read many interviews with him, but he like is super over the top, and I love him. So Brian Blessed, William Shatner, giant hams, giant ham, right? So that's where we're at. Let's see. Bye, North Project. Have a great day. Okay, I'm going to try this. I'm trying to do it clearly. I missed it the first time. Vajrakilia. I don't know where the emphasis should be on the syllable. Vajrakilia. Hey, man. Good to see you again. Yep, the Multipoly's coming. My kingdom for some rack space, for sure. Thanks, my case. Gozinagon says, I've extended those open metal frame rack stands in the past. You've extended them? Do some rack strips. You have to remember that if you put a tool in my hand, the most likely thing that will happen is I will hurt myself. Right? I say I'm really good with soldering if the goal is to burn yourself. I'm good at that. What it's like. I like the Hydrosynth too, but I just, because it's so big, I haven't been able to fit it into the rig in a way that makes it conducive to be played and fiddled with. So I'm going to try this one. We'll see how it goes. It's still basically out of reach. I like to keep one hand on the grid and then reach out for something else. So we'll get there. I don't like I could actually build like a cockpit, really bring them in close, and you have to like climb in to get there. And it's just too claustrophobic and it bugs me. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. Christopher Walken, giant ham. Absolutely. Hey, Doug. What am I using as an interface? So I'm using a couple Motu rack units. Ultralight AVB is sort of the main one. That's what the mic and the headphones are plugged into. And it's talking to a Motu 24 AI is the sort of main analog input thing. So it works out pretty well. I have no physical sliders on a mixer, which is, I have to do everything. I do everything here in Ableton, right? Oh, you can't see that hand. I moved that camera view out of the way. Hold on a second. Let's play. Boop. All right. Let's do this. Hang on a sec. I'm gonna rescale things just a tiny bit. Was it live video production? Something else I'm not very good at. Boop. All right, so if we do that, we do this. All right, so now you can see the hands. So I do my mixing on the push. So these things up here have knobs above them. I can just reach up and control them that way. Right, and that's what I do. So. Let that stay, and we'll put a deep drone in there. All right, let's go back to, what were we talking about? Bruce Campbell, another one. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, sir, your name, while important to you, and I'm not denigrating your name, it has too many syllables for me to be able to deal with it. So like D Carmike OO, I know that's Doug. So Doug, right? And I might call you, I might start calling you Vajra or Vajra, just to be shorter, if that's okay with you. If that offends you, let me know, I'll struggle with your full name. But is that an M3, M4 MacBook Pro? No, that was an M1 MacBook Pro. It's like 6 years old. It's really old. It's the first rev. So like, when I buy a laptop, it has to last like 8 years. So we're about halfway through this one, because it takes me 8 years to save up enough to buy the next one. So, hey Craig. Discord confused me at first, Gozinagon says. Not sure if I'll still get it. It's okay, man. It's up to you. If you don't like Discord, don't do Discord, right? And if you're a patron or a member of the channel, in order to get Discord access, and you like don't like Discord, just kill your membership. Don't keep putting the dollar in every month if you're not using it. No point. You're not taking any food out of my mouth. That money sits in an account and just accrues. And once a year, we give it away to charity, basically. Well, we give it away to people who are active members of the Discord. So, which is charity, right? But I can't write it off. So, let's see. Oh yeah, thanks Craig. Yeah, the stream with Andy earlier was awesome. Freddie, what are you sweating about? Anyway, let me get through the chat and then I'll continue to do some fiddling here. It seems like your room has plenty more depth to it. Like, so the room is in two zones because I have the digital rig, which is this rig around me, all this, and then I've got an analog rig over there. So so the room's really split into two halves, and the other half of the room contains a bunch of Moog synths and a bunch of modular, semi-modular, and a lonely Behringer K2, which is a fantastic synth. I love the MS-20, and Behringer did a good job when they made the K2. It stays in tune. I got no issues with it. Its MIDI implementation is good enough, right? The only thing that I miss is it doesn't have mod wheel input, which I'm not sure the original K2 had, so it's not that big a deal. Let's see, Project Siren, seems like so the room it's a decent sized room. I think it's 12 by 13. It's a shoebox, right? But it's split in half. And I have to stand, right? Sitting hunched over does bad things. I've got a couple bad vertebrae in my neck that if you were around in the fall, summer, I stopped streaming for a while because I couldn't stand and couldn't sit and just had to basically alternate between laying down with a lot of hydrocodone in me and standing up with a little less hydrocodone in me. It was ugly, but it's getting better. It's a chronic thing. It comes back every couple of years. It comes back because I feel good and I get lazy and I stop doing my exercises and PT strengthening stuff for the muscles that hold my spine in place. And so they atrophy, and then my spine says, "What are you doing? I'm going to punish you now." And I like lose the ability to do anything for 2 months or so. And during that 2 months, I start PT again and strengthen all those muscles again. Anyway, so the moral of the story, kids, is don't get old. And since that's impossible, stay in shape. Anyway, enough preaching. How do you make that bass sound? Oh, Craig, shut up. There's an inside joke that someone always asks, how do you make the Rick bass sound? Right. Someone always asks in the stream. There's a video about it. Just search for Synth Seeker Rick bass. But Craig, what I want you to do is just when someone asks, just say, there's a video about it. Search for it. Let's see. Yeah, Jethro Tull. Oh, we have a person. Music by Jethro. Hi. Are you new? So welcome aboard, if you're new. If you've been before and I forgot, I'm sorry. Okay, I think I've caught up on the chat. Oh, no, not quite. Hang on. Good God. All right. Scanning. I'm just looking for tags at this point. You guys can talk amongst yourselves. Let's see. Doug asks, which synth would you use for ambient journey to another world sounds if you had only the use of one or two? Man, everybody, that's the desert island synth question. That one gets asked a lot too. If I was using software, like if I had a laptop and I was putting a VST on it, I would use Omnisphere by Spectrasonics, which I've said before. And if I was going to use, if I had no money and I needed to do something free, I would use Vital, I think. If it was hardware and I was going to have like one or two hardware synths, honestly, I like these Korg Raspberry Pi synths, so I might go with the Multipoly as sort of a mid-tier expense. If I had a lot of money, I would go with a Summit or perhaps... Now, let's be honest. When you ask people these questions, they always answer with things they already have. Nobody's going to say, oh, go use the Fufar synth that I don't own because I have no experience with it, right? So of the synths I have experience with in hardware, the Summit is a very broad palette. You can get a lot of surface area out of the Summit. You can get a lot of surface area out of the Hydrasynth. Hydrasynth is also excellent. If you want to spend too much money, you can go with the Third Wave, right? Groove Synthesis, but that's got its own sort of surface area of the map it covers. If you're going to go inexpensive, I mean, value for your dollar, Hydrasynth is the way to go. For the most synth for the buck, I don't know anything more cost efficient than in hardware than a Hydrasynth. But if you're trying to be cost efficient, don't buy hardware, buy software. Because you can get way more functionality by spending, whatever you want to spend on a digital audio workstation, right? You don't have to, I use Ableton, but that's expensive. You don't have to go that way. You could use Reaper, right? Or something else. And then a VST, Vital, is free, right? You can get a lot out of that. So, but to answer your question, Doug, if I had to just pick two to live with, I would take the Multipoly or the Waves. I'd take one of the Korg Raspberry Pi synths, and then maybe the Hydrasynth and maybe the Summit. I know that's not one or two, but yeah, that's what I would do. It's a tough question, right? Because it's so personal. And like, what do you want to do? What kind of music do you make? And you can make most kinds of music with most synths, right? That's really not a thing. But oh, Freddie laughed at the description of my craftsmanship. Yeah, it's true. So I have tools. All the tools I own have been acquired since I purchased a home. We rented an apartment for 20 years while my son was born and raised in this one apartment. And they just never raised our rent, so it made sense. Like every time we did our taxes, the tax person was like, why haven't you bought a home yet? You're in your 50s. And I'm like, see what the rent is? And they look at it and they go, yeah, you should keep renting. Because we just had a very nice landlord who never raised our rent for 20 years. And then they went and sold the house underneath us. Well, I mean, they gave us 3 months warning. But that's why we live in a house now, because we were like, well, let's go buy a house. But anyway, the point is, I did not own any tools for fixing things because I would just call the support guy, right? I'd call, hey, Fred, there's the dryer is leaking. The dryer's leaking? The washer is leaking. Can you come fix it? And so I owned no tools. I had like a hammer and one screwdriver for doing synth stuff, and maybe a tape measure. But now that we own a house, I have been accruing tools, right? Like, oh, I need to fix this thing. Well, that requires a tool. I go buy that tool. And then I don't need it again for like a year. So I'm like accruing these tools. And all I really do with tools is injure myself. So that's how it is. Hey, Dr. Felix. Rejiggering is a technical term. Yeah. Percussive maintenance. That's another one that we do a lot of around my house. So, yeah, Vajra. I'm really big on the whole ergonomic thing. Feng Shui as a large, as far as the home is concerned, is less something I'm concerned with because my wife is in control of that. I have no illusions of control when it comes to home decorating, but this room is mine. And so she'll sometimes stick her head in here and she goes, maybe you should vacuum, right? I'm like, nah, it's fine. There's probably some density of, dust bunnies per square foot that I'm willing to tolerate, right? Dust bunnies per square foot. So dB per square foot. I don't know. We need to come up with a name for that metric. And I have vacuumed in here twice a year since we moved into this house, probably. It doesn't generate a lot of dirt, right? Oh, Doug, I'm glad you feel good, man. I hope this makes your day better, right? That's what Mom always said. It's like when you talk, just be kind and try and make it so that when people leave your presence, like if they come interact with you, when they leave, their day is no worse. Either better or the same, not worse. It's like that Boy Scout thing, right? Leave the campsite better than you found it. Well, I try and leave it the same, at least not worse. All right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start a little loop. I'm gonna play for like 10 minutes. We'll make just a tiny bit of noise. I've already done JAMuary for today with Andy, and it was awesome. But this is starting to bore my ear, so I'm gonna change this around. So hold on. All right. So, if you're new here, you will know that you won't know that I work in Berlin School, and I work in prog rock and film music. So the music I make is sort of the juxtaposition of the intersection of those three things. And I put way too much reverb and delay on things because I like washes. I like beds of stuff, right? Let's see. Let's get rid of all these patterns. Art is transient. Okay. Let's see. We'll put a little 8-bar pattern down here. All right, so that'll keep doing its thing. Right, so that's not awesome. Like from a synth sound, if you're going through presets or something, you're like, okay, it's a pluck. Not great, but it's okay. Well, what makes it at least the way I work, what makes things better is to layer them. Lay them. There we go. Okay, so we have two patterns. That sounds better, right? Hang on a minute. My nose is dripping again. This is going to be a flipped stream in that I'm going to do just a little bit of music and a whole bunch of yammering on and talking. So this is the little bit of music part. So we have two patterns and they're running. They're both 8 bars long. We're going to shorten one of them. So let's see. I'm going to temporarily make hands big. Oh, let's turn this off temporarily. There we go. All right. So can you can see this ish up here. That's the sort of representation of the MIDI that's running. I should do a screen grab, but I'm not that motivated right now. And we're going to shorten this pattern. All right. So now this pattern, this is a Korg Op6. So it's running and it's 7 bars long, and the other one's 8 bars long. So they're going to sound interesting. They've basically self-creating variation for 56 bars, 7 times 8. And what we do then is we put a little bass line under it. We'll do a 16-bar bass line, so bear with me. It'll take a minute to record. There we go. So now we've got a nice bass line, 16 bars long. That's the foundation, right? And we'll let these other things noodle around on top of it. All right. Let's jump back to the chat for a second. Hang on. All right. What's in the chat? Hey, Audrey. And Jethro, music by Jethro, you are new. Cool. Are you Jethro because of, like, classic, mid-18th century naming conventions that your parents enjoyed or that you enjoy? Or are you like a Tull fan? I'm curious. Let's see. Oh. Audrey, you came and went and I missed you. Oh well. You are always welcome. I'll see you on the Discord. So Freddie says he finds it relaxing in his electronics lab because his job involves working on software in a team, Synth Lab. This is my church where I heal my hurts. That's nice. So I too am blessed with a job that I enjoy, right? Not everybody does. I count myself lucky. It took me a long time to get here, but I do wake up in the morning and go, let's go to work today. I'm okay with that. And not all of my peers are happy, right? And they're not always happy with me. There are arguments and things like that, but generally, we all have a goal of making the world a better place. So it's okay. And I only have about 15 more years till I can retire. Let's see. I'm trying to get caught up on the chat reel here. Hey, Will English. You came in earlier and I didn't say hello. Hello. Oh, Moog Lee. I watch Moog Lee. Is Moog Lee? Oh, here he is. Hey, Moog Lee, how's it going, man? Another teacher, right? I hope you're still in a teaching position, right? So he does a cool modular stream, and I lurk in it. Occasionally I say hi. Yeah, how's it going, man? Music by Jethro. So are those samplers, sequencer samplers? So what you're hearing is two VSTs, right? The one's at the lead sort of pluck sound. The bass is a VST, a sampled bass. It's out of a piece of software called Omnisphere. I did a video about it. Anyway, and then there's hardware. So one of the plucks you're hearing is a Korg Op6. So I've got 5 hardware synths hooked up right now and 2 VSTs. I'll get back to that. And the whole point of today wasn't to necessarily make music. I did a stream earlier this morning where I did a jam with synchrotron. And today I am rearranging the studio. And so this is a musical interlude between me, like, messing with things. And really it's just a chat. So you can come in and out if you like. You gotta go. You know, pop in and out. It's all good. All right, so Audrey moved on. Doug asks, I'm considering a montage. Wow, that's fancy. It's like buying a sports car. I shy away from workstations. They're super useful, but I find I do not utilize them effectively. Like, I'd love a Phantom. I like Roland synths, but I don't own one because they haven't really made a synth that I really wanted. Like, they're really focusing on their workstations, and I just don't need one. So, but Doug, D. Carmike, if you get one, more power to you, man. They're pretty powerful. Music by Jethro, whatever they are, I want in. That's cool. Thanks, bud. My rabbits aren't crazy. That is true. I use the push, so I'm a grid player more than anything. I play piano and I play guitar, but I was trained as a bass player, upright. And then I lied to my parents, and that's not true. I lied to the band director who came up to me and said, while I was playing upright in the orchestra, he was like, do you play an electric bass? And I lied. And I said, yes. This was on the last day of school in middle school for the year. And I said, yes, I am. I do play the electric bass, which was a lie. And he's like, you're in the jazz band next year. I'm like, okay. I go home and tell my father, Dad, the band director said he wants me in the jazz band, but I need to play electric bass. And luckily my birthday is in the summer, right? And I was 13 at the time. And my father bought me a P-bass, Fender P-bass style bass. It was a Cort from JCPenney's or Sears and Roebuck or something like that, and a little Gorilla amp to practice with. And I practiced all summer. When I went back, I was in the jazz band, right? So I could already read charts because I played upright. So, although I was never very good at it, it was fun. But yeah, I play a lot of things. But the grid is my primary focus because it is small. I've got a smaller one I can use on the couch. I like the Ableton Move. That's my new couch composing tool. But I like the grid. But you'll hear it when I play bass guitar on the grid. People go, I could tell you're a bass player, which is a high compliment. It's very nice. So I appreciate it. Hey, Jason. Jason, are you new? Welcome. It is actually 16 bars. It wasn't 32. Because we're at 100 beats per minute. 2, 3, 4. So yeah, it was definitely 16. Let's see. Music by Jethro. Jethro, like from the Beverly Hillbillies. Oh, cool. There's an American cultural reference. So we have a broad spectrum of people who listen. A lot of people from the UK, a lot of people from Europe, Germany, etc. Österreich, right? But and a few people from. We have a couple friends from Australia, a couple friends who live in Thailand, so the point is there's a bunch of people who don't know a lot of American cultural references we make, so I end up explaining them. If that's annoying, let me know. But so Beverly Hillbillies was a show from the 1960s, about a family of mountain folk, people who lived an agrarian life out in the wilderness. And they struck it rich and discovered oil and became wealthy. And so they moved to Beverly Hills and had a big fancy house. And the whole point of the show was it was a comedy, was the comedy between the juxtaposition of these country folk with the rich people and how things would interact. And I will always remember the attractive daughter on the show was given a brassiere for the first time, and she loved it and was very thankful. She was like, "Thanks so much." And she said, "You've given me a double-barreled slingshot." And she used the brassiere. She mounted it in a slingshot. So it was a much more innocent time in the 1960s, right? So anyway, too much information or too much of a side tangent. The Jethro, I gotcha. No problem. Let's see. Where are we? Oh, you know what? Just to keep our ears interested, let's transpose this. There we go. We'll do some chord changes while I'm reading the chat. Yeah, the dust does accumulate. Nice. So the montage has good integration with the computer. Yeah. And Moogly used to do a lot of theater playing. Nice. You were in the pit. I'm 30 minutes behind in the chat. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm going to jump ahead. Black Gold, Texas Tea. Yep. Waltons. Ellie Mae. You got it. And Freddie says working in an agile team of 30 people is no fun. I mean, 30 people is a huge team. I wouldn't recommend a team of 30. Like sub teams for sure. All right, I caught up. All right. Do a little chord change interlude here. Then I'm going to turn this all back into a drone. And then go back to chatting and cleaning my studio. All right, let's bring this bass out. And we'll put a drone back on. Interesting. Might have a crash. Hang on. Oh, you know what you should do? Turn on. I forgot to turn on the synth. I'm like playing it, and I'm like, why am I not hearing anything from the wave state? I look over, has no power. So a couple weeks ago, I forgot to hit go on the stream. So I was like streaming for like 25 minutes, having a blast, broadcasting it out. And YouTube was receiving it. It's like, your stream's healthy, you're good to go. But there's nobody in the chat. And I'm like, it's a quiet day. That's fine. Then I get a call on my phone from one of my peers, streaming peers. And they're like, Luke, did you forget to hit go live? I'm like, oh, yeah, yes, I did. It was entertaining. All right, let's try this now. There we go. All right. So we'll just let that drone. Yeah, so the point today is I pre-ordered a multipoly and I don't have room for it. And I got to rearrange to figure it out. I started rearranging last night. I think it can go right here in the stack, but it'll be interesting. Hang on. Nobody wants to hear me swallow or sneeze. That's what the mute button's for. All right, let's see. Anyway, so Freddie, you're working in tech. So here, show of hands, give a thumbs up if you work in some form of technology, because there's really a correlation between nerds and music, right? So if you're in a nerd role, it doesn't have to be technology. You're a teacher, you're a nerd, right? Tech support, nerd, science, nerd, curious. I doubt there are, and I'm not disparaging anyone in the role, but I doubt there are any, people who work in, say, sales in here, right? My company has a lot of sales engineers. They're great people. They're generally much more handsome or beautiful than my direct peers, right? The people who have to deal with the public, they generally look good, dress better, they smell good. So, okay, I'm gonna tell a story about a guy who we used to feed flat food to. I'll get to that in a second. But I'm curious, if you work in, a non-technical role, let us know what it is. It's very interesting. I'm curious. I like to know the makeup of the crowd that I'm talking to, right? Read the room. Hard to read the room over chat sometimes. Music by Jethro. Do you do any live shows locally? I don't know if you're asking Craig or me. I don't do live shows since COVID, like where we go out. I do attend them though. So there's a big community in my area of synth nerds who do live shows. And so I go to them. All right, Dust Buddies. Benno Jabba. Hey, Benno. Should we call you Benno or should we call you Jabba? Let us know. And Vajra is putting poetry in the chat. That's always nice. Or is that a lyric from a song? Moogly mentions a Tell song. All right, I'm reading the Discord. Oh, let's turn off the metronome. You guys can't hear it. It'll leak into the mic from time to time, but there was a metronome going in my head. It's like hypnotizing me. Half the time when I say I'm reading the chat, I'm actually just spacing out. Okay, you guys are having a discussion between yourselves about playing out. Cool. Azarius42 said, made some MIDI routing mistakes for 2 hours. What I thought was piano live stream ended up being 2 hours of quiet cello playing through the entire time. That happens. MIDI is surprisingly complex. Like, we answer a lot of MIDI routing questions on the Discord. I look like I smell good. I mean, I bathe. My wife thinks I smell good, right? I bathe, I use deodorant. What's your soap of choice? For me, Dial. I like Dial. My wife likes, what is it? Dove. So there's always 2 bars of soap in the shower, right? Right next to each other, hers and mine. Let's see. Really? Azarius42 says IBM had a practice, I guess, if they couldn't hire programmers, they'd hire musicians since they were easier to train programming. Huh. That's fascinating. Oh, shut up, Craig. I'm not 30 minutes behind. Let's see. Freddie asks, I'm in a role, or he states, I'm in a role as a software engineer nerd, right? What is difficult is all the non-tech guys, like product managers, yeah. And some Rambo developers. I've never heard the term Rambo developer. Is that like a loose cannon? You know? So we had a guy I worked with who was really smart and very, very productive. But the problem is he would not come up for air. So he would choose a direction to work in. This is true on like all things. Any kind of project where you can go down under the covers and really work hard and work hard and work hard, make a lot of progress, and nobody notices what you're doing until you come back up for air, right? So he would choose a direction and he would start working. And then 3 weeks later would come up and like share what he had done. And because he was, at the beginning, he was just divergent very slightly from the true direction that we wanted him to go in, he would go, and he would diverge from where we wanted him to be. And he would land at this place that's like way off course. And we'd have to rein him in, and we'd had to sort of get him to like, no man, come up for air every 3 days. Like, you can earn peer prestige by sharing what you're doing with your peers, right? And this is true in anything, certainly in music. If you ever do a collab with someone, if you've done a musical collaboration with someone and you're like, okay, I'll work on this and you work on this. I'll do some bass and rhythm and you do some leads and harmonies. Okay. And we're going to be in this key at this tempo. And let's go. You want to like touch base as often as possible, right? Because I've been in collabs where I go one way and he goes another way, and where we end up when we get back together, it doesn't work. It's not copacetic, right? We're like, okay, we'll take a step back. So I guess in all things, when you're working with a partner, you have to talk to each other fairly often. Benno, did you respond? As far as, should I call you Jabba or Benno? Like my name's Luke, right? So Jabba has connotations that are not good necessarily. I'll call you Benno for now. Reading chat. I do like to splurge on soap, says Moogly. It's some nice handcrafted and scented stuff. So whenever anyone gifts us handmade soap, it's like joy in our house, because like we only use Dial and Dove. So whenever anyone, gives us handcrafted soap for various reasons, we totally use it. We absolutely use it. It does not like live in a drawer somewhere forever until we're like, what is this? And throw it out. That's other kind of gifts. But soap gets used for sure. Let's see. Dove makes amazing chocolate. Yes, but don't eat the soap. That would be bad. Let's see. My case does lots of things. Some of them are nerdy. I'm not saying anything wrong with like a non-nerdy profession. Like if your job is like, oh yeah, I work at Dunkin' Donuts, I work the register. Been there, right? Nothing wrong with that. I'm not disparaging anyone. I have what do they say? I have a large collection of hairnets and name tags. I do. When I worked at Burger King back in the day, I worked at Burger King, doing all the jobs. And we had name tags back then, right? A long time ago. And we used a Dymo labeler to actually make the name on the name tag. And you just peel it off and change it. So I'd go for weeks with some other name here, right? Lucius, instead of Luke. And then, what was it? For a long time, my name tag when I was working at Burger King read Smaug, like the dragon Smaug from the Hobbit. Just went with it. People were like, "What? That's an interesting name." I'm like, "Yeah, blame my parents." So coffee is one thing that I cannot abide. I'm not a coffee person. So I met my wife working in a coffee shop. back in the day in Florida when she was in college and I was post-high school, pre-real job. I was, like totally, it was my first job that like provided me with enough income to have a roommate and live by myself, right? I worked at a coffee shop and I love the smell of coffee, but I don't like the taste of coffee. It's like nasty black water. I like tea. My parents drank tea growing up. They drink coffee now. But I met my wife there. She was Christmas help. She was hired at Christmas time for help, and you weren't allowed to date your coworkers. That was against the rules, against the policy. So I waited, until the day I knew her pink slip, basically our thanks for working, here's your final paycheck, was in her inbox. We had like cubbies. We put our our hats and gloves in there and then put on the apron and go work. And I saw that they were putting the pink slips in the cubbies. So I added a note, right? That's when I asked her out. It worked out. We ended up getting married. Let's see. Oh yeah, rapid disassembly. Yeah, the ship going down. It was pretty, I'll say that. Freddie says a Rambo programmer is one who breaks the architecture of quick and dirty hacks. Oh sure, product managers love that because it's fast, it's expedient. Yeah, they see the lobby but not the kitchen. Yeah, right. Just to be, so again, you're going to get all sorts of things that may be boring to you. Feel free to walk away. But Freddie, yeah, I work in a technical debt role, right? So it's the same thing. People choose expediency over correctness, and it adds up. Eventually, the system gets brittle. Yeah. Gozinagon says, the first job I had was at IBM, working in the clean rooms with the old huge mainframes and hard drives back in the 80s. Nice. Did you have the big like disk arrays that you had to like open the top like a laundry thing and then put the disk in and rotate and pull the case out? It was like the platter drives. That was my first experience with a server room, was swapping platter drives. I worked for a place that sent junk mail. And so they had this big mainframe and the platter drives were like, which state are we sending mail to? All the data, all the addresses were on these platter drives. And, on Tuesday, we'd load platter drive number 71 and right, put it in. And then the engineer would start the process. It would print out a bunch of junk mail and we'd have to take it and then cut it, cut the big sheets, print it out large format. We'd have to cut it down to, 8.5 by 11s, fold it up, stuff it in the envelopes by hand. It was a terrible job. And it was just junk mail and then it would get mailed out to the people. It was my first tech job. Oof, it was awful. Let's see. Let me keep going in the chat here. Craig doesn't sleep, basically. Hey, Dr. Felix. For those of you who are talking to Craig B, NW Dreamer, we're fairly certain he's a vampire or some sort of undead thing because he doesn't ever sleep. He's always online. Azarius says, talking to Gazinagons, got an old SCSI drive. Nice. So I love acronyms that become pronounceable things. So SCSI means SCSI, and it was a protocol for connecting drives like USB, SCSI, old SCSI drives. For those of you who are young, but let's face it, the demographic of the kind of music I make and the people who tend up in our chat and our Discord, you're all probably my age or older, right? The bell curve is right around 53. Hey, AJ, if you came in earlier and I missed it, greets. You're imagining my life without coffee scares me to the core. So I'm on decaf all the time. No caffeine. So I used to publish a fanzine, if you know what a fanzine is. Fanzines are like small press magazines that you print out and photocopy and then staple them together and then, put a cover on it and sell them in coffee shops and stuff like that. So I had some friends who were into fanzines and they got me into it. And I made a fanzine called the Caffeine Quarterly. And every 3 months we would put out a small fanzine, between 28 and 42 pages, 48 pages. And the the byline was, anything worth doing is worth doing while extremely caffeinated. All right. And I didn't drink coffee, but I drank a lot of Mountain Dew. And my favorite snack was chocolate-covered espresso beans. My heart can't take that anymore. So I am only on decaf tea, basically. But for a while, one of the things I thought I was going to do, I studied when I was at university, was industrial food chemistry. So like, why are those weird ingredients with unpronounceable names in the food we eat? Like brominated vegetable oil, right, is a primary ingredient in Mountain Dew. Brominated vegetable oil. It's like, why do we have brominated vegetable oil in Mountain Dew? I'm going to tell you. So one of the flavor ingredients in Mountain Dew is citrus oil. All right. And oil and water typically don't mix, right? So if you're putting a flavoring agent that's made of oil into a drink that's made of water mostly, how do you disperse the flavor in the water or keep it from separating? Well, that's what brominated vegetable oil does. It's a lipid molecule, vegetable oil, that's been brominated. It's had a bromine stuck on one end of it. And that makes it so that one side of the molecule is soluble in oil and the other side is soluble in water. And so you can use brominated vegetable oil, pour it into water, and it will dissolve. And then you can add a flavoring oil, like citrus oil, and it will latch onto the brominated vegetable oil lipid side, and it will then be distributed throughout the whole drink. And that is why brominated vegetable oil is in Mountain Dew. So, woohoo, the things you learn in Synth Seeker streams. Let's see. Guzinigan says, the ones I got involved in were called Gulliver and Piccolo. Gulliver and Piccolo at IBM. They had a disk platter processing room. Okay. It was like being in a sci-fi movie set at all times. Yeah. Did you have to wear the bunny suit? Guzinigans? Did you have to wear the clean room suit? I'd imagine you would if it was a clean room. Right? So, Davey says, I am 14. Yes, in your brain. Hey, Wabbit. How's it going, bud? Let's see. See, Craig, so I jumped to the end of the chat to try and get caught up, and I missed that Wabbit popped in. Project Siren quit coffee. Oof. Switch to tea, man. Or switch to something else. What are you switching to? Sorry, I'm stating the obvious. Captain Obvious. You must be switching to something else. Right. You did miss the studio blow up. You didn't really miss it because I kind of did it overnight. And then I pulled the camera out and sort of like panned and scanned around and stuff like that. So come back for the destruction. You can. I mean, we'll see where it goes. It's okay, Wabbit. Hey, Tibor. Oh yeah, you worked in the clean room as well. Nice. So we are in the Matrix. Davi's not on Luke's Discord. That's fine. Yeah, brominated vegetable oil is an emulsifier. You're correct. We could have put egg yolk or mustard. Mustard's another emulsifier. If you're making like gravy and you're trying to and it keeps breaking. Let's say you've got gravy made out of butter and something else, and it keeps separating, right? If you put a tablespoon of mustard in it and whisk it up really good, the mustard is an emulsifier, but generally mustard is a strong flavor too, so it's got to work in the gravy. But that'll keep it from breaking. Yeah. Let's see. Lecithin, yes. Or what is it? Xanthan gum is another good one. Xanthan gum's in everything. Any kind of sauce probably has xanthan gum in it. If you can find a sauce that doesn't have, like a bottled thing that doesn't have xanthan gum in it, you should try it, because personally I think xanthan gum is gross. Like if you put xanthan gum in something, it turns it thicker, but it's like thicker in a slimy way. Ugh, not a fan. I was making hot sauce for a while. We were pickling peppers and then taking the peppers and grinding them up, adding vinegar, etc. and it was real watery. And so we were trying to thicken it up. We used xanthan gum, and it's okay. It's not great. Let's see. All right, you guys are in movie references. Zardoz. Zardoz is a great one, Vajra. All right, let's make a little bit of noise here. All right, let's play with this drone. Use that one. Am I having a stroke, or is the stereo spread on that really weird? It's like really widely separated. I don't know who's using headphones. I think that's normal. Hang on. Okay, no, it's the patch. I'm not having a stroke. Here, let's lay down just a chord change thing. It's not really chord changes, I'm just doing variations of root and fifth. What does this sound like? It sounds like the beginning to a Thompson Twins song from the 80s, used in the soundtrack for a John Hughes film. I'm just saying that's what it feels like to me. I'm not saying it actually is from a Thompson Twins song, but... No. I don't like that sound. Let's switch that sound. There we go. That'll work. All right. Whoops. I had a bunch of patterns from earlier in there. All right, hold on. Oh, maybe let's do something. Okay, so let's see if we can. Here's an experiment. Let's drop a Berlin School style pattern on top of that chord progression and see if it works, which means a really short figure. So something like, we'll do it as like a pentatonic. We'll do a little run. All right, so we'll take some segment of that. I just recorded way more than I needed. And let's pull. All right, and let's do another really short one. Do that. That. Hang on a second. There we go. Now we'll mix them so they sound about right. I want to bring both of those down so they're sort of more ambient, like in the background, and with the chords being clear, the interval sort of drone. All right. What do you guys think of that? I'll put a bass line under it. Hey, James. Oh, you got JAMuary stuff rendering. Nice. Pink Floyd vibes? A little proggy. We'll do a bass melody. Sometimes not playing is better than playing. All right, so that is a 41 bar bass phrase. So that'll phase with everything as well. Let's go back to our lead pattern and we'll make it offsetted a little bit more. Let that roll for a bit. We'll do some chord changes on it in a minute. This does not look like sorting out your studio. I sorted out my studio like a little earlier. And now it's this. I will get around to it. We're doing a little musical interlude, Anna. Okay? So we'll get there. This happens all the time. This happens at work. Like, okay, I have to really review this specification. Let's sit down and read this. But I'll put a little music on in the background, right? Like, okay, well, that sounds interesting. That sounds really awesome. Right? It's like next thing I know, my peers are like, hey, it's time for lunch. How's that spec going? I'm like, ooh. Oh, well, that happens. To be distracted by music or musical creation is not a bad thing, at least on a Saturday. Moogly says chord changing from D minor to C to B flat would be dope. Okay. The bass line is going to make that interesting. We may get a little dissonance in the bass line if we do that. We'll try it. Let's go down. We'll go down again. Go back. Jump back to D. Is that what you meant, Mowgli? You know way more theory than I do, so I could do diatonic transposition with my little jelly beans things here. Oh, stop it, Craig. It's not that bad. Let's go even further. All right. Oh, you want to do the changes and keep the bass just staying like in pedal mode? I can do that. 1 second. Hey, Garen! How's it going, man? We're going to do an experiment here. All right. So keep the bass as a pedal. So that would be this, right? Yeah, so this will disengage the bass from transposition. And then if we move everything and let the bass stay there, does sound good. Good one, Mowgli. It's interesting. Like musically. We'll just let the bass melody do its thing on D, and we'll move everything else around it. Music by Jethro. Have a good one, man. Kids are up. I understand. B flat rather than B. I am not set. I'm diatonically locked to D Dorian right now, so I can't do accidentals with this current rig. I'm working on it though. So no, you're not gonna get B flat today. Which is funny because if Trusto or Moser is here, I used to tease them about B flat as a root because they were struggling many months ago. They were learning their keys and modes, and they were struggling once in a while with B flat, and I would tease them about it, and I would be like, they're like, okay, let's do this thing, and I'm like, do it in B flat. They would get kind of pissed, but anyway, it is what it is. Let's see. Yeah, because I'm working in scale degrees. So we're on the 1. So if we go up, 2, 3, So we're moving diatonically through Dorian, Mowgli. Right. And so the buttons here, I'm locked to the Dorian mode, so I can't reach B flat. I am scanning the chat, looking for people who tag me or put big Qs in front of their thing if they have questions. So if you said something to me and I'm missing it, say it again and tag me or put a Q in front of it. But if you're just talking amongst yourselves, that's fine. I just don't want to miss. I don't want people to feel left out. Let's see. Dissonance there. This is sounding fairly mystical. I'm liking this. Now I'm going to put the bass back into the diatonic transposition stuff because I want the bass line to actually go with us. I can't read between the lines very well, but if Craig and Vajra are having an argument, be nice, gentlemen. I'm a big den mother. It's like romper room for music nerds. That's fine, Anna. Do your thing. Come and go. I'm going to slow the music down, go back to a drone. Or I'm going to bring the music back down, go back to a drone, and start fiddling with things a little bit. And I may move the camera around. Hey, Studio 8 FX. Greets. You have me on your PC monitor speakers? All right. I was listening to Andy at one point this morning through the speakers on the bottom of a Mac Mini, so it's okay. It can be bad. Yeah, Anna's good stuff. All right, I'm going to pull this out. I'm going to start pulling stuff out. All right, let's move this back into place. Too deep. All right, we'll let that run. All right, let's hydrate, shall we? To steal a behavior from Reconsiderate. I just call him Recon. I can't remember his full name. Reconsiderate. Someone fill me in the chat. Anyway, this guy Recon, he's awesome. He's a streamer who does live looping with his voice. So he's got like a loop pedals and just a microphone. Hang on. Before we do that, let's go find him. All right. Let's see. Recon. Reconsider its music sketchpad, I think. Yeah, Recon. So I'm going to drop this in the chat. This guy's fun. So he uses a microphone and a set of looper pedals, and he basically does these live looping jams, but he just uses his voice. It's pretty cool. Anyway, and the reason I'm mentioning him is because I'm stealing something from him, and I'm not going to do exactly what he does, but I'm just going to say, in Recon's live streams, he does this sort of cheers thing. I just need a drink to hydrate, so in honor of Recon, cheers. If you have something, please drink. And that's the last time I'll steal anything from you, Recon. All right. There we go. All right. Let's see what else is going on here. Tube's intro commences. Oh, his Recon's page got the intro thing. All right. What is life? You're off now. See ya, man. Have fun. Man, person, whatever. Multipoly Rack Unit on pre-order. Yep. So that's the whole point of the stream today, was that I was going to be like disassembling the studio and reassembling it, which I've kind of already done. I kind of got it done really early, so that's why we're making music. Yeah, the Multipoly. Thoughts on the Multipoly? I don't do synth reviews, right? But I'm a big fan of those Korg Raspberry Pi synths. I like them all. You're listening to one right now. All right. Alrighty. Let's see. Craig. Yes, Craig, I can see you. Anyway, so let me know what's going on. Craig, you're making noises that like YouTube timestamp is doing weird things, but I don't know. I'll refresh. Maybe it is. No, seems fine. Anyway, all right. Let's move this forward. That's doing its thing. If there's an issue with latency in the chat, let me know. Should be pretty low. So, right. Anyway, so the studio. I guess I could turn some lights on. Show the ugliness behind the curtain. All right. So I did this a few minutes ago. Well, I guess I did this like an hour ago. If I move this stuff and let's change the, let's quickly change the shot. Davey, is the delay 25 minutes? I just saw your message that there's always a delay when streaming, but it should not be 25 minutes. And the timestamp is 9:40 a.m. my time, so 40 minutes after the hour. Let me know if I've got a significant amount of latency or something like that weird going on. But anyway, not gonna worry about it. No delay. Okay, Don. So it's personal. It's to the consumer. Okay, that's fine. Boop. Let's zoom the camera up. Not that you need to see more of my face, but okay. So we're gonna move the camera out of the way, or the keyboard out of the way. We're going to grab the camera. Oh, I do need to see the chat though. Make smaller. There we go. Okay. So what's going on? So these are the changes that happened at the beginning. So that Jasper's stand, okay. Those synths used to be over here. Okay. So my problem is I've got, this is the rig, right? Here's the streaming rig. Sorry for the shaky cam. I have a gimbal somewhere in storage, but I just grabbed the tripod. Now, these are the Korg Pi synths, and there's a fourth one coming in, and this rig is this isn't 19-inch wide rack. This is the classic keyboards synths with the keyboards removed. Okay, that's what those are. Thanks, Garen. There's no delay. Great. Okay, Craig, I think you're just cursed. So I don't know what to tell you, bud. Gazinagans, you seem fine. Okay, for a few of you. Well, that's a personal problem. That's a you problem. I don't know. Thanks for letting me know, but it appears fine. But so anyway, these were the keyboard synths that everyone hated because the keyboards were such crap quality. You can get conversion kits and rip the keyboard off. Not rip, it's carefully disassemble and then mount them in these things. So that's what I've done. They look like they're 19-inch racks, but they're not. They're actually like 24 inches wide. Below it, for scale, that's a 19-inch rack. Okay, so they're, I'd say 2.5 inches wider on each side. So they're like 24, 25 inches wide. So they don't go in a rack. They're in their special thing that's mounted on a keyboard stand. Well, I've got a fourth one coming in that is 19-inch rack. So I've got a rack down there, and I could put it in there, but I don't want to because I can't reach it. What I want is I'd like it to be right here. And so there's a tier on this keyboard stand here, and I can extend these out. I can extend this one out. And I think the multipoly can live right here and be within hand's reach, just like these are within hand's reach. So that's the plan, okay? And then this stuff changed because this Hydrosynth Deluxe doesn't fit on any of my Jasper stands. So when that Jasper stand that was behind us was over here, this thing was just sitting in storage. And Task Boy 3000, good old Joe Johnston, who was here at the beginning of the stream, he's been giving me, I try not to curse in stream, he's been giving me Shinola because that was in storage. He's like, come on, you need to use that thing. I'm like, okay. So I pulled it out because it is an excellent synth. And I had to put a stand here. So I've got a 2-tier stand. Put it there. Now it's almost within reach. So this is the thing that is like I can reach this. But it's not quite convenient enough to reach, right? And I had the extra tier, so I put the Summit down here. Ugh, don't like that patch. Let's find a multi. There we go. I think this is one I made. Yeah. Anyway, so we've got this here, but it's just not quite within reach. So like the feng shui of this still isn't working. Anyway, okay, so let me put this back. So, first world problems, right? Oh no, I can't make my toys in my playroom fit the way I want them to. I know. Let's see. Let's put this back. But it's getting there. So I made those changes earlier. So I really thought I was going to have to fully disassemble like everything in this room. and I wasn't looking forward to it. But it turned out it was okay. I just moved the what was the Jasper stand that was over there to over there, and then put those stuff there. I like Jaspers. Those are the aluminum tubing stands. I like those. Hi, I'm a Jasper stand representative, and let me tell you, if you want to take your studio to the next level, get those keyboard stand cheat codes that'll take you to the next level, and all those things they don't want you to know. Jasper stands, the only place I could find that you buy them, they're not too expensive. They're actually quite reasonable. You get them from Thomann, and Thomann will ship them to the U.S. or they've got a U.S. distributor or something like that. And so I do that. But they're big, right? So you want to get them. They cover a lot of square footage on the floor. Hang on. At least you don't have Eurorack taking over the entire room yet. Well, funny you should mention that. All right. So we do this. That's the Eurorack that's hiding. So that's a Moog Matriarch with a nice Eurorack extension. Burp. Hiding there. Okay. And I'm going to get back to that after JAMuary. But another, if you like Totoro, there he is, my friend Totoro. I should probably get a gimbal or something. Oh wait, PTZ? PTZ? Is that what it's called? Garen, you're the master of the PTZ, right? You and Wabbit? You guys have those like remote controlled camera pan and scan thing that you can do whatever with. That aren't cheap. Anyway, let's talk about stands. So I like Jaspers, but I also like, as far as tiered keyboard stands with 2 or 3 tiers, this company called Standtastic. S-T-A-N-D, tastic, like fantastic, but stand in the front. They make folding portable keyboard stands that basically collapse down into a little gig bag you can carry them with, but they're super sturdy. Like I put a Moog 1 on a Standtastic stand and it was like no sweat, right? And that thing weighs a ton. It's like CS80 levels of heavy. And I like Standtastic, and I have 3 of those. And I highly recommend those. If you want a stand that's very, very sturdy, but very, very portable, Standtastic. Big fan. Again, not a representative. Let's see. Yeah, catch up on the chat here. All right. No delay. No delay. All right, Craig, you're good. Craig, were you just making that up for attention? Pause the video accidentally. That's what happened. Though, in all fairness, I do notice that when I'm watching like Symptoms of Reality or Andy's stream, if I move away from the active window that has the live chat in it, when I move back, it like scrolls fast to try and catch up, and that causes the video to delay and stop being live. So maybe that's what's happening to Greg. Maybe you're bouncing away in and out of the video, and that's just accruing delay over time. Garen says the kits from Tall Dog Electronics were excellent, assuming he still has any. I don't think he has any. They're all gone. So, and Garen says, Joe's right. A Hydrosynth Deluxe in storage is almost criminal. Well, feng shui. I did figure something out. I need more Hydrosynths. So here's his true story. I had a Hydrosynth, the very first Hydrosynth 19-inch rack one when they first came out. And I didn't like it. I sold it because it was buggy. The firmware, the operating system was weird, and it would do weird things. Its MIDI implementation, when I would try and use CCs to control stuff, would like control more than the thing I was targeting, and it would start making crackling noises. So that may have been that I had a bad unit, but it did not instill confidence. And I thought it sounded thin and quiet. And I'm not like one of those, I'm not like all into analog, like, analog warmth. That's a thing, but it's not a thing for me. Like, if I offend, I'm sorry. Unsub, I'm out. So I sold it. And it took me a long time, I guess 3 years, basically, of playing with other people's Hydrosynths periodically over time to be like, it's getting better, and then watching the like release notes for the firmware and saying, okay, that thing that I was experiencing that wasn't, the timing glitch in the sequencer, that was actually a thing that they fixed. Okay. And then I pulled the trigger again last year, and I was like, okay, we'll get the deluxe, and I got it because I wanted the keyboard. I wanted the Polytouch keyboard. And it is a sweet, sweet thing. I agree. But it's been sitting in storage because it's so darn big. I haven't had a place for it that satisfied the old feng shui. And this is still non-optimal. We'll see where it goes. But, All right, catching chat more. So looking for Jaspers. Sounds like Toman. Yeah, Toman is the... So if you go to toman.de and then click over on the US flag, you'll get the Toman US version. And they're pretty reasonable. And they're fast. So I don't know where you are, Azarius. I'm in Boston, United States. It takes them like 3 days to get here. It's super fast from Berlin to Boston. And the shipping's, I think, like $40. So it's not trivial. It's not free, but it's worth it. See you, Moogly. Have fun, man. I will continue to lurk in your stream. I'll say something next time I'm in there. Let's see. Nobody wants a bad unit. Yeah. Animotion. I've run out of plugs. Like, what kind of plugs? Like inputs? Is that what you mean? Animotion? You're out of like audio inputs on your interface, or you've run out of something else? You're in PA, Azarius? Okay. I'm going to be honest with you. The Deluxe is nice, but it's huge. It's humongous. It's not heavy, but it's very, very wide. It chews up a ton of space. So, you've run out of electrical sockets, like to power things? Like, that's what power strips are for? Does it look like, Anna, I don't know I don't know culturally if there's a overlap here or not. Honestly, Anna, I've known you for months and months, and I don't know where you're located. So you don't have to answer that, but so I don't know if I make United States cultural references, if you'll get it or not. There's a film called A Christmas Story about a child's... you're in the UK. Okay. So there's a film called A Christmas Story that follows this kid named Ralphie. And Ralphie, and it's in the 1940s United States, when electricity was ubiquitous, but, primitive. And there's a scene where Ralphie's father and mother have plugged in their Christmas tree and all their lights. And it's one of those clusters that looks like plugs in, plugs on, plugs on, plugs. And I just see that now. I think your studio looks just like that. So, yeah. I was curious how much power everything drew. I was worried as I was setting up the studio in this room if I was going to draw too much power and throw a circuit breaker in the house, right? 15 amps is what the max, right? And so I bought a device it's called a kilowatt in the US anyway, and you plug it into the wall socket and then you plug everything else into it. And it really just has one. So what you do, I used a whole bunch of power strips plugged into each other, and basically everything in the room is all going down into power strips, all going down into this kilowatt thing that does measurement of what the power draw is. And so I was worried that I was going to go over 15 amps. And I'm not an electrical engineer, so if you're an EE and you're laughing at me because of my concern, I understand. At the end of the day, the draw, when everything was running, all of the gear, everything, even the lamps, the draw was like 2 amps. It was really low. And then I also measured like powering everything on, because when things first power on, they draw more. And it was like spikes to like 3 amps. So you know, the synthesizers, even the modular stuff, doesn't use a ton of power. I mean, some of the modular can, right? But like what I've got isn't. So I don't know. You'll probably be okay if you just add more power strips. Don't set any fires, okay? Wabbit, is Wabbit still in the chat? Quasar, if the crazy Wabbit is still in the chat, he bought a power conditioner that he likes. Tell us what that one's called, Wabbit, if you're still here. I think he ran off, though. Yeah, Azarius. The rack mount power strips. There's like a line conditioner and they're fused, and some of them have lights in them. The Wabbit has hopped off. Okay, that's fine. Furman, yeah, Furman makes them. Furman's expensive though. Like, I know you get what you pay for, but like when I go hunting for power strips, I look for ones that just have like the little, you know, the little logos on them that say they're going to meet a baseline of quality, right? You could buy things on Amazon. Like, here's a power strip on Amazon, you know, that's made overseas somewhere, and it's just this is the power strip, and then here's the same looking power strip, but it's Underwriters Limited logo is on it, and then maybe one of the other organizations. I don't know what it is. The EE equivalent of like the IEEE or the ACM, right? It's the powers that be that said, we have inspected one of these, and yes, it meets a certain level of goodness. I generally kind of search for that stuff when I'm buying power strips. Donna says I have a nice face. Thanks, Donna. So does Garen, and I assume you do. And the birds, of course. Well, Garen, what's your bird who's been on stream? We've met once. I can't remember his name, though. Let's see. Catching up in the chat. 1 second. Furman, dealing with wall warts is a pain. Yeah. Wall warts. So is that an idiom that's common outside the US? So the little plug that has the transformer on it that takes up a huge amount of space when you plug it in the wall, those are called wall warts over here. Is there a UK or European equivalent? See you, Davey. AJ, the Chinese can print any label you want these days. Yeah. There has to be a certain amount of trust in international commerce. Otherwise, I just worry too much. So I'll take it. They're just referred to as plugs? Okay. Okay, Garen. The gray cockatiel is named Kish, and the Senegal parrot is sometimes heard on the street is butterscotch. Okay. All right. So for those of you who missed the stream a couple weeks ago, there's a bunch of YouTubers, synth people I know, who have birds as pets, and I'm fascinated by birds as pets. And I'm fascinated by them in the way that I think I want to meet the bird, but I don't want to own a bird, because like I said, I'm trying to cut down on my responsibilities, and a bird is a very long-term responsibility. So I like other people's birds, if they like me. I don't know. I've met a couple parrots who were very friendly. All right, let's make a little more music here. Kaya? All right. So, yeah. So as far as like tearing down the studio, I'm kind of done. I gotta play Feng Shui, buddy. Nobody really wants to see that. The other thing is I'd have to like go to the room mic, and that's really awful because this place just reverberates like a box. You know, I see people talk about their studio and they're like, oh yes, I've been treating the room. And I just kind of roll my eyes because it's like, you'll never, there's no perfect room, and you'll never make it perfect. So it's always like from sucks to doesn't suck, right? There's no it's awesome for a home studio, generally, is my opinion, right? We can fight about it. And so I just avoid all of that by having monitors over there that I use when guests come over. Those are basically the guest monitors. There's a sub and two near field monitors, and I plunk someone down on the keyboard. I turn those on, I crank the sub up, and I go, here you go. And they hit the low note on the Moog, and it goes, wow, on the walls shake, and they are happy, right? So those are the keep guests happy monitors. And when it comes to making music, headphones. That's where I'm at. No room treatment, none of that. You know, if you're into that, awesome. I'm sure you have made your room better. And have you made it good enough? Are you happy with it? Ask yourself that. If the answer is yes, carry on. If the answer is no, look at how much you've spent on it. Look at how much you're planning on spending on it. And if there's no pain in that disparity, carry on. That's fine. But if it hurts, you know, if you're like, if I could just get those $40,000 near field monitors, if you're working in a coffee shop, I challenge the wisdom of that decision, right? It's okay. Ooh, AJ, don't tell me that. I want to maintain the illusion, okay? Yeah, rooms within rooms within rooms, exactly. Well, Garen, you treated it and to the point where you can deal with it, right? No, that's fine. I mean, plus you have to deal with the acoustics of being a bird owner, right? That's a real problem. Bird isolation, that's a whole product line you could probably develop and sell. Hey, Recon, we were just talking about you. I posted your link earlier. I hope you don't mind. I stole your thing. I didn't steal it. I just took a drink and I said, here's to Recon. Cheers. I didn't do the countdown or anything like that. I'm not stealing your shtick. I just was thinking of you. You put a nice rug in it, Anna? Yeah, I like a nice rug. This room has hardwood floors, and putting the rug in it made it bearable. So, exactly, right? Bird isolation's difficult, and butterscotch has a set of lungs on them, right? Tiny bird in-ear monitors is a totally new market. Hey, Soup. Wait, did I miss it? Oh, God, I'm on top chat. Live chat. There we go. So, Soup is in the house. All right, I'm going to start a few loops. We're going to let it go. I'll start a drone that's actually rhythmic, and then we can keep talking. I will eventually get around to... do I really want to? I don't know. We'll see. This is total cash. Come and go as you please. The goal of this was literally being social. That's all. If you have questions that you desperately want answered, tag me or put a big capital Q in front of it, or like 2 or 3. Then I'll notice them. And if I miss them, ask them again. So, but let's drop something down here first. Okay. Instead of starting with the bass, let's start with I'll start with a supersaw lead. Let's see. We'll do a 16 bar pattern, and we'll just play some melody that hovers around the root and wanders away and then comes back. That's 8. All right, 16 bars. My traditional Irish music roots are leaking. Ah, I didn't like that. Hang on. All right, that'll work. We're doing a little live looping. Recon's here. It's got to be good. All right, let's fix the mix. All right, we have 3 layers running. All right. Throw a drum loop in there. Change the lead sound too. I think that's like the loop from Run DMC Aerosmith Walk This Way. Make the bass angrier. Let's see. Bring the distortion on the bass up a bit. bring the bass back in a second. Just wanted this drone in here. We do a smooth transition out. That was fun. All right, let's bring some of these back. There we go. Oh, I did all that and wasn't showing the keyboard. Oh well, that happens. Hang on, let me move the cameras around. See, this is the next level. This is where Anna and Garen and Jeff Hops are like all on board, right? You guys have like your camera presets set up and all that good stuff, and I am just floating here in amateur land. That's fine. I'm just not that motivated to like make it look good. It's all about the audio. Grr. Next thing you know, I'll be dressing up like Ziggy Stardust. Bye, Garen. Have fun. Yeah, sorry, Craig. You want the jelly bean view. Sorry. Sorry. Yeah, PTZ cameras one day. Anyway, so, yeah. You could go watch, there's only like 50 other streams showing my hands playing, right? That's okay. Anyway, how long have we gone? Gone a couple hours. I think probably good. Grid apprentices. So. People are like, how do you get good at playing the grid? Play. Practice. Do I sit here and do scales? No. Right? It just happens over time. I didn't sit down and start to like... Let's see, let's turn this off. Right? You just learn the shapes over time. And then you develop muscle memory. Right? And I have a style, right? So when I make music on the grid, it sounds like me. just because inertia and muscle memory. Who's another grid player who's like, I shouldn't say who's another grid player who's good at it, because it's all relative, right? I feel comfortable on the grid. I'm not gonna say I'm great, right? But what's his name? There's a guy who puts out a thing called the Push Bible. He like sells training, like learn how to play, pay me money, here's my book, right? But he's good. When he plays, he's really good. And he doesn't play anything like I do. He's a piano player who went over to the Push, and so he plays, you know, serious right hand, left hand technique kind of stuff. What is his name? Andre Sorensen, I think his name is. He's good. Everything I do is a monophonic line for the most part, or an interval of some kind. No. Let's put the bass back the way it was. So I play intervals, 2 notes at once for the most part. Do a little interval here. I'm feeling pretty good. It's a 3-day weekend. The stream's going well. I feel pretty good. I need to do some exercises for my neck today. A little stretching, a little strengthening. We've got dinner tonight with friends. You guys have been good. And really, I got a new synth on the way. So, anyway, I think we'll put it down. Any questions? The Jelly Bean View, PTZs. Then you get old and your muscles start forgetting. You know, I don't necessarily agree with you there, Craig. It's not old that your muscles forget. It's old and your muscles just stop, you know, they start atrophying, right? So... it's okay. Dr. Felix, I'm glad that was a help. Cool. Send people to Davi's stream. Okay. Hold on a second. Yeah, I'm going to close it down, but let's go find Davi's stream. Davey. Sorry. Davey the Hug Monster. So Davey works in the box. You're going to get a lot of DAW information, but Davey is a sweetie. And I need to copy that link. There we go. And is quite good at what they do. So, if you're looking for more, you just want to keep on rolling with the streams, Davey the Hug Monster is not a bad place to jump to. And they're rolling right now. There you go. All right. I have to get off my feet. I've been on my feet too long. So I'm going to go sit on the couch, and I will I'll probably I'll lurk in Davey's stream, but I need to give my wife some attention. She has some chores she wants me to do today, so we maintain the relationship. And Anna has sorted her power issues. Nice. So is there now like a nuclear reactor in your shed? And Bubba's asleep, so stream overload today. I understand. I take a break from streams for a while. Like the Source stream, they stream every day, right? And I was watching them every day. I have totally pulled back. I watch them like twice a week. I peeked in on Popcorn Night, and I'll catch one other stream, just because I don't have the time, you know? Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye, release everyone. Not that I was holding you here, but it was super fun. And JAMuary is 5 a.m. U.S. Eastern Time. I'll see you tomorrow if you're interested. And let's see, the Sunday Synth Shenanigans is basically being replaced by the morning live stream tomorrow. So there will be no 2 p.m. stream. It will only be the 5 a.m. one, okay? When JAMuary is over, the Sunday at 2 p.m. U.S. Eastern will return, okay? So heads up. All right, I'll see you guys later. Have fun.